Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right, in this video, I want to share with you my top 10 last-minute Criterion sale recommendations for this Barnes & Noble 50% off Criterion Collection sale. So these are 10 recommended titles from the Criterion Collection that I think you might want to consider if you're still shopping for those last-minute Criterion titles. You're just trying to figure out, hey, I want to pick up one, maybe two last-minute Criterions, maybe a surprise blind buy type pick, maybe a pick that might be flying under your radar but is an excellent title to consider. I've got a stack of 10 Criterion Collection releases here that I'm going to go through that you might want to consider adding to your list that's currently flying under the radar. So on the other side of this, we're going to get into it. My top 10 last-minute Criterion recommendations. Let's go. All right, we're talking about some last-minute recommended titles from Criterion to consider for this Barnes & Noble 50% off sale that's running through December the 7th. This is the very beginning of December as of the time this video is going up, and I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday with family and friends. We had a good time. We actually hosted some family from out of town, so that was nice, and we also had a chance to go down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Black Friday and watch our Georgia Bulldogs take care of business against the in-state rival Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, winning 16-9 in their 8th straight victory in this rivalry series that we call clean old-fashioned hate here in the great state of Georgia. So had a chance to do that, and so very excited about that, and very excited about this November sale. So there are 10 titles that I have here that I'm going to go through in chronological order. So from the 1940s all the way up to the 2010s, or 2020s actually. So we're going from 8 decades in the past all the way up to present day. I'm super excited about these titles. These are all titles on the Blu-ray format. So I know sometimes people get concerned about, well, should I pick up that Criterion Blu-ray because they may announce a 4K? I'll tell you this. I think these are 10 titles that have a lower likelihood of getting a 4K upgrade anytime soon. But of course, there are no guarantees. You never know. Anything is possible. But my guess is that for the most part, it's less likely that these titles will be upgraded to 4K anytime soon. But you never know. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started here. So these are my top 10 last-minute Criterion sale picks for this November 2025 sale that runs through December the 7th, 2025. And the first title that I'll recommend is a title from Alfred Hitchcock, my favorite all-time director. When he moved to the United States from Great Britain in 1940, he released 2 feature films in that same year. Both were nominated for Best Picture. Rebecca, which is also in the Criterion Collection, won Best Picture that year. It was his only film to ever win Best Picture, but the other film that was nominated for Best Picture that he released in 1940 is his film Foreign Correspondent, which comes out in the Criterion Collection as Spine 696. It's from 1940. It stars Joel McCrea, and it is an excellent film that is from 1940, and it is absolutely brilliant. It says in 1940, Alfred Hitchcock made his official transition from the British film industry to Hollywood, and it was quite a year. His first 2 American movies, Rebecca and Foreign Correspondent, were both nominated for the Best Picture Oscar. Though Rebecca prevailed, Foreign Correspondent is the more quintessential Hitch film. A full-throttle espionage thriller starring Joel McCrea as a Green Yank reporter sent to Europe to get the scoop on the imminent war. Is wall-to-wall witty repartee, head-spinning plot twists, brilliantly mounted suspense set pieces, and astonishing special effects. This is a really good movie. It's been quite a while since I've seen it, and I can highly recommend it. This is on the dual format, this release here. Back when Criterion was doing dual format releases, I picked this up. Of course, today you will get it in a standard Blu-ray case unless you happen to find one of these dual formats in the wild. They're still out there. I see them on occasion, but Yeah, typically you'll see this on a standard Blu-ray case, but I highly recommend Alfred Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent. So that's the first title I'll recommend here. And of course, this is my slide. This is an underrated wartime thriller from the master of suspense. Amazing set pieces, the windmill chase that you see pictured to the right there, and a rain-soaked assassination, including umbrellas. That's a very fascinating scene. Prime example of early Hitchcock style evolving fast, great Blu-ray restoration, crisp, black and white. This is a 2K digital restoration on this Blu-ray, and it looks very, very nice. Highly recommend Foreign Correspondent. Now, the second title that I'll recommend in this last minute recommendations video is a title from 1941, so the year after. And it is a film from Raoul Walsh starring Ida Lupino and in second billing Humphrey Bogart before he became a big star, before he broke out in 1942 in Casablanca. He starred in High Sierra the year before in 1941 with Ida Lupino. So this is a film in which he is playing a bit of a bank robber. He is going to go for a heist in the Sierra Nevada. And this is a fantastic film that stars Ida Lupino, and she gives a wonderful performance in this film. This edition from Criterion, you get a little bit more bang for the buck because it also includes another feature film, Colorado Territory, which is based off of the same story. So that second feature film is included on this disc, which makes for a really nice value for this release in the Criterion Collection. So I highly recommend High Sierra. It comes in at spine number 1099 in the Criterion Collection. So in the case of High Sierra, it stars Humphrey Bogart, a transitional role toward noir anti-hero stardom. Ida Lupino is phenomenal in this film. John Huston's screenplay elevates the material, and it's an important pre-film noir crime classic. So I highly recommend High Sierra from 1941, starring Ida Lupino and Humphrey Bogart. Now, the third title that I'll recommend to you is a title that is directed by Michael Curtiz, who directed the film Casablanca in 1942, the year after this film came out. And that really was a big breakout role for Humphrey Bogart. And I believe The Maltese Falcon also came out around that time. So that's when Humphrey Bogart was really beginning to gain traction as a leading man, as a top billing star. But 8 years later, Michael Curtiz would direct this film starring John Garfield, and it is a film noir called The Breaking Point. So this is The Breaking Point, 1950 Michael Curtiz film starring John Garfield and Patricia Neal. This is a really good movie that I have not seen in quite some time that I need to revisit, but John Garfield stars as Harry Morgan, an honest charter boat captain who, facing hard times, takes on dangerous cargo to save his boat, support his family, and preserve his dignity. He's left in the lurch by a freeloading passenger, and he starts to entertain the criminal propositions of a sleazy lawyer played by Wallace Ford, as well as the playful come-ons of a cheeky blonde played by Patricia Neal, making a series of compromises that stretch his morality and his marriage further than he'll admit, stretching it to the breaking point. So this is a fantastic release from the Criterion Collection. On the inside, you'll see a picture here on the insert of John Garfield and Patricia Neal. Really good movie. I need to revisit this noir title. Even though November is over, we can still enjoy noir films all times of the year, and The Breaking Point is a great one to consider adding to your collection that I highly, highly recommend. So this is The Breaking Point 1950 Garfield. It is considered the best adaptation of Hemingway's To Have and to Have Not. Strong humanistic direction by Michael Curtiz. Raw emotional performance from John Garfield. Really underseen noir adjacent masterpiece. Of course, John Garfield passed away at a very young age, I think age 39 in 1952, just 2 years after this film came out. So he is a case of gone too soon, but he starred in this amazing film from 1950 from director Michael Curtiz. The Breaking Point is highly recommended. It comes in at spine number 889 in the Criterion Collection. So the fourth title that I'll recommend here is a title that stars Katharine Hepburn. And this is really a fun film to watch. If you like travel, if you like seeing picturesque locations around the world, this title will make you want to visit Venice, Italy. It comes in at Spine 22 and it stars Katharine Hepburn. It is summertime. This is a film that takes you on a wonderful trip to Italy with Katharine Hepburn, as she is a middle-aged woman who is traveling overseas on a summer vacation, and she is encountering love overseas, or what she believes is love. She encounters a romance, and that romance comes with some layers of complication. So, very fascinating romantic film, picturesque film. It's like flipping through the pages of a travel book watching this movie and watching Katharine Hepburn go through the wonderful areas of Venice, Italy in this beautiful, beautiful film. It's shot in Technicolor, looks absolutely wonderful, and I highly, highly recommend Summertime from the Criterion Collection at Spine 22. I wish this title was released on the 4K format, but it came out on Blu-ray in a new 4K digital restoration. I think this Blu-ray upgrade came out about 3 years ago, I think. And it looks phenomenal on this Blu-ray, and I highly, highly recommend it. Of course, Summertime, directed by David Lean. This lush Technicolor storytelling set in Venice, Italy. It's a romantic drama with deep emotional honesty. You have Katharine Hepburn at her most vulnerable. Gorgeous transfer. It's a sleeper pick for classic fans. You have Hepburn as you've never seen her. Venice as you've never seen it. Katharine Hepburn, Rosanna Brzee in David Lean's Summertime. Highly, highly recommended. Great, great film. All right, the fifth title that I'll recommend is a title from 1956, so we continue to get closer and closer to current day. This is a film directed by Nicholas Ray. It is Spine 507. It stars James Mason. It is Bigger Than Life. This is a fantastic film that takes us to the 1950s, a time of mom and apple pie, father knows best, that June Cleaver period. But this is a film that sort of breaks that mental thought of that image, if you would, of just wholesome, harmless America. This takes you down a dangerous path as you have this father who's played by James Mason. He is a friendly, successful suburban teacher and father, and he's prescribed cortisone for a painful, possibly fatal affliction. And this drug causes him to grow dangerously addicted to the experimental drug, resulting in his transformation into a psychotic and ultimately violent household despot. And seeing his transformation over the course of this film and seeing him become increasingly unstable is really something to see. It's a bit unsettling, and James Mason's performance is phenomenal in this film. And it breaks that paradigm of wholesome 1950s America. I would imagine that audiences at that time who were used to seeing TV shows like Father Knows Best and My Three Sons and those wholesome TV shows from that period, this had to be a bit unsettling seeing that. It had to be a little bit disorienting, but it's an amazing film that I highly recommend in the Criterion Collection at Spine number 507. This is Bigger Than Life. Nicholas Ray, 1956, is one of Ray's boldest films, social critique, melodrama. You have stunning cinemascope compositions. You have James Mason giving a powerhouse performance, and this is a Criterion must-own that doesn't get talked about enough. Again, that's why I'm talking about this release and some of these titles that are probably flying under the radar for a lot of people as some really good last-minute recommendations in this sale while you still have a few days to get it at 50% off. So highly recommend Bigger Than Life from Nicholas Ray. Now the next title brings us all the way from the 1950s. We're going to skip through the 1960s and go directly to 1970. This is a film by D.A. Pennebaker, 1970. It is original cast album company. It comes in at Spine number 1090 in the Criterion Collection. This was a Broadway play from Stephen Sondheim, who did the composition and the lyrics. And this is an absolutely amazing film that comes in at 53 minutes, and it goes over the painstaking work that went into this cast of this Broadway play coming in to do the original cast album recording for Company. And it contains some amazing performances. It really shows the incredible dedication to art and the incredible dedication to getting it done right and not resting until it is perfect. Because this is the original cast album that will serve as the testament of the songs that this production produced. And it is just a fantastic, fantastic film. Again, it only comes in at 53 minutes, but it is highlighted by wonderful performances, including Elaine Stritch's performance of The Ladies Who Lunch. And her work to get it just right is the hallmark of this film. And I highly recommend this film. It is so good. If you like Broadway films, Broadway theater, and you appreciate good musicals, you will really appreciate this title, Original Cast Album Company. Highly, highly recommend it. It's a vivid behind-the-scenes look at Sondheim's brilliance. Raw, funny, intense, the birth of a Broadway legend. Amazing for musical and documentary fans. The short runtime, but it's endlessly rewatchable. Again, short runtime at 53 minutes. And then at the bottom right there, you'll see Elaine Stritch heroically bringing forward that song, The Ladies Who Lunch. I mean, what an extraordinary performance. But yeah, Original Cast Album Company. All right, I've got 4 titles left. And the 7th title I'll bring before you is a title that stars Gena Rowlands and John Cassavetes. And this is a film from John Cassavetes. It is from 1984, so we're going from 1970 to 1984. This is a film that stars the two of them in this spy number 721. It is called Love Streams from 1984. This is another dual format edition release. Of course, today you will get it on just a standard Blu-ray only release. I'm not sure if this is available on DVD as well, but this is a fantastic film. You get John Cassavetes here on this booklet here. Nice, thick, stapled booklet, which is very nice. But this is a fantastic film in the Criterion Collection. New 2K digital restoration at the time that this came out, but this is based off of a 2K digital restoration. And this is the electric filmmaking genius John Cassavetes and his brilliant wife and collaborator Gena Rowlands. They give luminous, fragile performances as two closely bound, emotionally wounded souls who reunite after years apart. Exhilarating and risky, mixing sober realism with surreal flourishes, Love Streams is a remarkable film that comes at the viewer in a torrent of beautiful, erratic feeling. This inquiry into the nature of love in all its forms was Cassavetes' last truly personal work. Beautiful film starring Gena Rowlands and John Cassavetes. Of course, Gena Rowlands also stars in Woman Under the Influence, another Cassavetes film that is getting a standalone Blu-ray release in February from Criterion. It was part of the February announcements. Of course, that film is also in the John Cassavetes, I believe, 5-film set that I have, but it's getting a standalone Blu-ray release in February. But in this case, she's starring with John Cassavetes in Love Streams. Fantastic film that I highly recommend. Again, spine number 721. This is the final collaboration between Cassavetes and Rowlands. It's a painful, beautiful exploration of connection, deep emotional and artistic resonance, and an essential piece of independent American cinema. Absolutely phenomenal film from John Cassavetes, Love Stream, starring him and his wife, Gena Rowlands. So the 8th title I'll recommend is from Theodore Witcher. This is his only feature film that he directed. It is Spy in 1117, starring Nia Long and Lorenz Tate. It's from 1997. It is a wonderful film set in Chicago's 1990s Black creative scene. It is called Love Jones. It is about a 2 young 20-something-year-olds played by Nia Long, who is a photographer, and an artist played by Lorenz Tate, who are trying to decide, are we truly in love with each other, or are we just kicking it? What are we doing? What is the nature of our relationship? So it's a beautiful exploration of romance in Chicago in the 1990s. And this is a very beautiful, soulful love story from Theodore Witcher. Absolutely phenomenal film starring these wonderful actors. Of course, Lorenz Tate also appears in the wonderful film Menace to Society, which is available on 4K from the Criterion Collection. It's one of the first 4K releases from Criterion from 2021. That is also a high recommendation in the sale as a last minute pickup if you have not picked that title up. But yeah, Love Jones, a 1997 black romance classic. Sexy, smooth, poetic, a vibe all its own. Lorenz Tate and Nia Long, perfect chemistry. Stylish 1990s Chicago bohemian culture. Tremendous disc with killer soundtrack presentation. I think one of the cool things about this release, one of the cool things is when you pop in the disc, you have this fascinating collage of images. Of course, Nia Long plays a photographer, so you have a really nice collage of images going across the screen with some beautiful, like jazzy music playing in the background. Really, really nice screen there from Criterion on the menu of this disc. So really, really like that touch from Criterion. Now we're down to the last two titles that I'm recommending in this last minute sale recommendations, including a film from Alfonso Cuarón. This film came out in the year 2018. It is a fairly contemporary release from Alfonso Cuarón. It is shot in black and white, and it is a wonderful film in a very thick digipack package here from Criterion. It is his 2018 film, Roma. So I highly recommend this film, Roma, from Alfonso Cuarón. Fantastic film in the Criterion Collection. Gets this beautiful, beautiful digipack release that is absolutely hard to resist of this amazing, amazing film that is shot in black and white, that gives you a nice look into Mexican culture in the 1970s in Mexico City. So Alfonso Cuarón recreated the early 1970s Mexico City of his childhood by narrating a tumultuous period in the life of a middle-class family through the experiences of Cleo, played by Yalitza Aparicio, in a revelatory screen debut, the indigenous domestic worker who keeps the household running. Charged with the care of 4 small children abandoned by their father, Cleo tends to the family even as her own life is shaken by personal and political upheavals. This was written, directed, shot, and co-edited by Alfonso Cuarón. It is a labor of love with few parallels in the history of cinema. So, fantastic film from Alfonso Cuarón that is highly recommended. Of course, here you have an intimate epic exploring memory, class, and family. Stunning black and white cinematography, beautiful Blu-ray, powerful performances by a mostly non-professional cast, and it's a modern masterpiece that rewards rewatching. This is a 4K digital master supervised by director Alfonso Cuarón with Dolby Atmos soundtrack. So fantastic presentation from a video and audio standpoint. This is a really nice edition. This edition feels weighty in the hands. It's nice, heavy. You really feel like you're holding something here with this edition, Roma, on Criterion Collection Blu-ray, coming in at spine number 1014 in the Criterion Collection. All right, last but not least, we have a very fascinating title that I think probably breaks the record for number of languages spoken in a film. And it is from 2021. It is from Ryosuke Hamaguchi, and it is his fascinating film. It comes in at 179 minutes, so right just under 3 hours. It is Drive My Car. This is the winner of Best International Feature at the Academy Awards when this came out. It beat out other nominees such as The Worst Person in the World, which is also in the Criterion Collection and highly recommended, so definitely check that one out. But I definitely recommend you check out Drive My Car. This is a phenomenal film. Check out the languages included in this film. It's in Japanese, English, Korean, Korean Sign Language, German, Mandarin, Tagalog, Indonesian, and Malay with English subtitles. So how they interlace all of these languages in the film is a really fascinating aspect of this movie. And it's just a wonderful film to watch. It's a very meditative film as you go on the journey of this man who recently lost his wife, and he goes to Hiroshima to direct the play or a production of Uncle Vanya for a theater festival. And along the way, he goes through a variety of relationships with another actor, Masaki Okada, with whom he shares a tangled history, and a chauffeur played by Toko Miyoru, who is pictured here as the driver, who develops a surprising rapport with the driver, and he finds himself facing up to his emotional scars. So it is a long journey, but a very rewarding journey for this nearly 3-hour watch, and I highly recommend it. This is a new 2K digital master approved by director Ryosuke Hamaguchi with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. This came out, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, and it is fantastic. It's spine number 1136 in the Criterion Collection, and I highly, highly recommend Drive My Car. Of course, here, this is the Oscar winner that lives up to the praise. Deep character study on grief, performance, and healing. Fantastic feature-rich Blu-ray, and it's a great value while 50% off. It's a beautiful looking film. Of course, it is a modern film shot with wonderful cameras, and the photography just comes across beautifully with this nice 2K digital master. So it looks phenomenal, beautifully clean, great presentation, but a wonderful story that is told in this film. So with that, these are the 10 titles that I am recommending in this video as last minute pickups. You have this wonderful film, Foreign Correspondent from 1940, 1941's High Sierra, The Breaking Point here, fantastic film. Summertime, you feel like you're being transported to Venice, Italy in this film. Bigger Than Life, original cast album Company, Love Streams, starring Gina Rowlands and John Cassavetes, Love Jones, Nia Long and Lorenz Tate, Roma from Alfonso Cuarón, and Ryosuke Hamaguchi's Drive My Car. These are all highly recommended for this Barnes & Noble Criterion Collection sale at the last minute. If you're looking for those last minute titles, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of these titles that I've recommended? Let me know what are some last minute recommendations that you would bring forward and what titles you are picking up in these last remaining hours of the sale. Let me know all that in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Have a great one, happy shopping, and happy December. God bless. Peace.